Hello and welcome to another Tuesday Talk with Ruby Reese. My name is Chris and I'm co-founder of Ruby Reese and I'm also your host.
As you've noticed, we'll be doing this week's podcast episode a little bit different, as you're probably listening to this in real time and not in the future or not too far in the future. We're just coming up to the end of 2024 and moving into 2025. So really exciting time for us, I think, at Ruby Reese. And we said we'd have both of the founders on to have a chat.
About Ruby Reese.
Exactly, about Ruby Reese.
And 2024.
And recapping everything that we've experienced and maybe a couple of insiders as well for what's coming up in 2025. So I suppose a good place maybe to start is the podcast, this very podcast that we're talking on. How's the podcast been for you, Chris?
Wonderful. I'm always in the back. No one sees me normally. But I'm a part of it as well, I would say.
Yeah, you probably do more with the podcast than I do. So maybe you want to take us through actually what your main functions are behind the scenes in the podcast.
So what I do normally is like everything after the recording. So everything editing and reading through the transcript. So the captions are right and all these things, and then making everything right for like the small little magic clips. We will talk about them later, I would say.
Yeah, but I think you don't even do yourself credit for what you do beforehand as well, because we have a digital studio and you send a lot of like the links out and make sure that those are all set up as well. So there's a lot of preparation in it. I think people sometimes expect the podcast just kind of comes together, and if you're putting together say a 45-minute episode, it's not really the 45 minutes that are invested, but a lot more time, I think, as well, right?
Oh, definitely. And it's also like even the small little pictures you see about like the small little, how do you call it?
So yeah, the cover pictures are all
exactly.
made kind of bespoke really for each episode. And I suppose there's organization as well that both of us are involved in with our guests as well. And I suppose the guests are probably the most important part of the whole podcast.
Definitely.
So on that note, a huge thank you to our guests and thank you also to you, the listener, because without you guys, obviously there would be no podcast. But to get to a point where we're releasing an episode with a guest, there's an awful lot of preparation, trying to figure out people's time schedules, and I know loads and loads of our experts are really super busy all the time, so there's a good bit of coordination that goes into it.
Definitely. And I mean we decided to do it every week, so you have some new content every week, but this is also this puts a little bit of pressure to us also. I mean, it's not only like you have to find someone for every week of the year. And as you mentioned, I think, did you mention it already? It's 20, this is episode 26, actually.
So for 26 Tuesdays in a row, we've now put out a podcast religiously every single Tuesday. And I suppose it's a huge commitment. And like you say, it's not just about getting the people to come on and record and to share their knowledge, but also to have a good mix all of the time. At least we think that we have a good mix, and if you have any feedback on that or anything you'd like to hear on the podcast, please do send us a message anywhere really, I suppose, that you can find us. Get in touch. But I suppose having a good mix is important as well. With the guests, we don't want to have entirely one conversation going on for a month and then change the whole topic and do a whole month on something else. It's nice to have the variety. We've had canine physiotherapists on one week, and then the next week you might have
like having the mix between some serious topics. For example, what comes to mind is the breed specific legislation, but then also have something nice, like for example, talking about dog sports like hoopers.
Exactly. And so I get what you mean, yeah, as well. So like, we want to keep a good diversity of topics going as well. So it's all about finding the balance and making sure that that we're, I suppose, keeping you all entertained and keeping the education going as well, in that sense. And we're growing as well.
We're growing all, like with every episode we are growing. I mean, the thing is with growing and the podcast, I think we, with everything, like you expect, like, oh, you bring out a podcast and I think 1 million people are listening. This is not true, but we are growing, and this is most because of the people, like our guests, of course, and also the listeners sharing all the content and telling people about it.
Definitely. And I suppose what we see in the analytics, and now it's not as if we have so much time to look at the analytics all the time, but when we do look into it, you can see that the episodes, now that we're on episode 26, it's not just 26 and 25 that are going to be listened to this week. You'll have people listening to episode number 3, loads of people listening to like number 12, whatever, every week. Almost every week you see people listening to the older episodes as well. So it's really exciting to see that people kind of are always jumping on board and listening to
100%. And this is what we try to do. I mean, in the end, it's like something you can listen to later on. We try to avoid to make it too stuck to one date or one event or whatever. We really want to be these episodes to be listened to in 2 years, 4 years time.
Yeah, we'd love that, and I suppose that's a difficult thing as well, trying to make it a little bit more timeless and make sure the content is really super useful to people in the future. And also I suppose it's worthwhile saying that we're kind of content hoarders in a sense, because we know specific times of the year people are very, very busy, especially our dog experts here locally in Ireland. So we kind of try to have a stash of the next couple of weeks of content. So
it always feels like we have a week with every day recording for a podcast, and then we do a lot of editing, and then there's 2 weeks of just promoting it, and then there's another week, like, yeah, it's a little bit like this, isn't it?
Yeah, it
comes in waves, I would say.
Exactly. It's not like it's every Monday night it's a scramble for us to get someone live on. It's definitely comes in more waves than that. And I suppose that's also important to point out as well, because the video podcast, and some of you will definitely be watching the videos along with the audio. And during January, for sure, you will see Christmas trees up in people's backgrounds, and it's not like we're trying to lie to you and hide things. We try not to make it too obvious that we've recorded something kind of 6 weeks in advance, but it's just so that we can get number one, the right mix, like we were saying, that it's not say 4 weeks of vets and then we don't hear from a vet in for 11 months, that there's always a bit of a mix, and also the timing thing. And exactly. So was there anything else that you wanted to talk about?
Yeah, we talked about, I mentioned it earlier, we always, like, internally we call them magic clips. It's the small snippets of content we put out on Instagram and Facebook and TikTok and all the other things, where you perhaps see, like, Killian talking to someone for a minute. I just recognized, I just talked to a friend recently. He said, "Yeah, I always see your interesting clips there." I said, "Yeah, did you listen to the podcast?" And he said, "Oh, it's a podcast." And nice thing, perhaps you recognized that last week I made it a little bit more obvious with the clips now that it's actually a podcast. So if you see now one of these clips, I will definitely put this part in a clip. Listen to the podcast.
Yeah, please listen to the podcast, or at least follow us on Spotify or YouTube or Amazon Prime.
Everywhere you can find podcasts.
Yeah,
like have a look on the if you're not sure where to find us, and I mean Spotify is one thing, but have a look on the website, on the blog page. I direct linked all of them. Like, not all of them, but most of them.
And we also do a lot of things, outside of the podcast. So
Definitely.
we're a fully fledged company, and it's a good point to bring up that we do other things as well. So we've done a couple of live stage events this year,
which was related to the podcast as well. You have to say it like this. I mean, it was Tuesday Talks Live, I would say, the Pet Expo. It was great. I mean, I was manning our stall there and selling products, and Killian had a really great time being live on stage. But I'm pretty sure you can talk about this.
Yes, I suppose for people that haven't been to the Pet Expo, which we also have an episode about on the podcast, the Pet Expo is a big fair for in the calendar in Ireland for our pets, and particularly dogs. Dogs is a very big focus there, but also other pets. And I had the opportunity to run the Tuesday Talks Live stage, which was brilliant. We called it Tail Talks.
Tail Talks, exactly.
Because it wasn't on a Tuesday, it was on a Saturday and Sunday. Yeah. And we had a brilliant opportunity to speak to loads of different guests all weekend live on the stage. But of course, although it's similar to a podcast, and I'm obviously well used to speaking to our podcast guests at this stage, but I suppose it was brilliant to have the live experience as well. We had a great opportunity for crowd interaction, which is something that
can imagine this. Yeah,
it adds a little bit of an improvised kind of atmosphere to the whole.
You can't situation. Cut out. You can't edit it afterwards. I mean, this is the thing.
You can't edit bits out. We had kids asking questions as well. So, however much of a filter, adults.
You had live animals on stage. I mean, working with live animals on stage.
It's exciting. So I suppose, first of all, what I was getting to with the kids is they can ask anything, and how much ever our filter is as an adult is one thing. But, kids can ask absolutely anything.
Everything, yeah.
And some of the questions were brilliant, and it was really, really exciting to do that. So that was really enjoyable. And I was really surprised with the crowd interaction as well. Sometimes you think, will anyone ask questions? But we had some really, really brilliant questions over the weekend and loads of interaction.
I can imagine this. Yeah. And I mean, there were great experts on stage as well.
Exactly. And, I suppose we really got to broaden our horizons a little bit further than just dogs, even though we are obsessed with dogs and love the dog world. And I'm sure most of you listening in are, connected to the dog world in some way. But we got to also speak with experts. Of course, we got to speak with people on loads of dog topics, but we also got to speak about alpacas in particular, and also exotic pets. And you mentioned we had live animals on stage, so we had
alpacas.
We we brought some alpacas into the building for a few minutes to have a chat. Well, to have a chat with Kath, who is their owner. And we also had exotics, and we had snakes on stage both days as well. So I had, as far as I can remember, we had a baby anaconda on one day, and then we had two boa constrictors on the second day. No, were they pythons? Sorry, they were pythons.
Snakes, and they were snakes.
They were huge. So yeah, that was really, really exciting. But I suppose with it being live, it was great as well, because it was a group learning kind of atmosphere.
Yeah, of course. So like a small little masterclasses in the end.
That's it. And people's questions kind of built on each other's questions. Yeah. So, just it kind of you had sparks of ideas, and that was really.
And we got a lot of inspiration for the podcast there as well.
Absolutely, met some great people. So you can watch out for a couple of
interesting ones. Yeah,
definitely. And so then we I suppose delving into further learnings throughout the year and new experiences, we did something else as well.
Yeah, the survey. The survey was a big part, like during the April, May for preparation, and then June, July, August. A big project actually, and very interesting one, and we really enjoyed it, I would say, right?
So much. And I suppose we were delighted to have over 1,000 Irish dog owners or guardians respond to the survey, which was absolutely phenomenal. So I suppose the importance of the 1,000 respondents is that you get to a statistical relevance area where you can start trusting the facts and figures. Now, I suppose it's worthwhile saying that we know that the survey got a lot of attention on Instagram in particular, on other social media platforms. That does skew things, of course.
Definitely.
There are lots of people not on Instagram.
I wouldn't say it's relevant for the whole Irish population, but it's definitely for the what should I say? Instagram dog
lovers.
Yeah. So I think it's definitely relevant for a big part of the population. Yeah.
And realistically, I think, and maybe I'm pigeonholing it a little bit here, but it's potentially you, the podcast listener, as well, because it's it seems like the results are skewed a little bit towards the clued in people in Ireland, the people that really love their dogs, like you mentioned, people that are hungry for more information. So I think it's really representative of kind of our community in a way.
Definitely. And I mean, I would say it's relevant for every dog, because I'm pretty sure, like when it comes, for example, one of the question lines in there was about allergies. Even if we just asked Instagram people, I think this is right for every dog in Ireland.
And it's shocking. I mean, we've definitely see this on so many markets and events and everywhere we get to meet people that have dogs, the amount of allergies and the amount of undiagnosed allergies in dogs.
Yeah, and some people don't even know that dogs can have allergies.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and they've been, I think people are wondering why their dog, it might be itching and scratching and chewing its paws, and I mean, I don't need to tell you all of the symptoms that could potentially mean that your dog has allergies, but it's shocking. And the survey results, which are still available on our website,
definitely, yeah. And this is still interesting, and we didn't talk about this so far, but I'm pretty sure we will do this next year again.
Yeah,
will we?
I think we will. Maybe not exactly the same questions.
No,
but we'll definitely keep some of them exactly the same, I'm sure. To see
it. For example, how dog friendly is Ireland? This part, for example, for me, this was the most shocking part. Not shocking. I mean, it was a little bit expected, but shocking in terms of that it's so obvious that so many people think the same way.
Yeah. So it really came out that that the dog lovers of Ireland, I suppose no surprise in that sense, really, really, really think that Ireland needs to up their game across the board.
All of them. I mean, we said, look, I think the dog friendliest places are the cafes and coffee shops. But saying the dog friendliest doesn't mean that they are really dog friendly, or people think that they are dog friendly. They're just not the worst of them.
That's it.
Yeah. So but look, as I said in many conversations with people, it's like it starts with the public transport.
I think so. I mean, a lot of our population and a growing percentage of our population lives in cities, and we need to be able to get around those cities. And I think one of the key points that we all need to keep in mind here is that it's not just about bringing your dog to the pub. There are critical services that you might need for your dog. If you can't get to a vet, if you can't get to a canine physiotherapist, if you physically can't get to your all of the amenities that you need for your dog,
even in emergency situations. I mean, like this is so crucial, and we definitely have to work on this, and it works in other countries, so there's no reason why it shouldn't work in Ireland.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm pretty sure, and it's working in parts of the public transport system. So it's allowed in trains, but not in buses. I don't get it. They really have to do something there.
I think so as well, and it's interesting to think about, because realistically, the type of person that wants to bring their dog with them on a train so that they can go and visit granny or go to the vet or go to a trainer is probably going to be the type of person that wants to train their dog to be able to not completely destroy the train on a daily basis.
Definitely, and it's normally a dog living in the house, and like it's not the farm dog, like completely covered in mud, who will be in the bus. Realistically, I mean, it definitely can happen, but I think we will definitely have to do something there. Yeah. Definitely. And then if the public transport would be a little bit more dog friendly, I think other parts of, like hospitality, for example, will move on as well.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I think if people start seeing more and more dogs passing their shop front windows and not being allowed to come in, I think that's definitely going to help changes come about.
100%. I'm 100% sure there.
And then another interesting area that we looked at as well is was in and around gender, and I realized that it's a sensitive topic, but it was incredible to see how much women were taking over responsibilities for
women's power completely. Yeah, not completely, but
on all the
big part,
on all the areas around dogs. So women are making decisions in and around healthcare and veterinary, making decisions with the purchasing power, tend to be the main caregiver of the dog in general. We sometimes saw a little bit of a split between genders on the dog walking, and of course there's I mean, this is making huge generalizations, but it was very interesting to see.
I mean, we had a good few answers who said, oh, both are equally responsible. So this is something we had as well. But yeah, like it is like it is. It's over 1,000 people, and the numbers don't lie.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And again, this could be somewhere where skewing comes in, of course, with results, because across social media platforms, women tend to be more active. So if the survey takers were coming to us from a social media platform, particularly Instagram, they're more likely to be women in the first place. So it's, you always have to take results with a little pinch of salt, but I think it was still astonishing, and you can go onto our website and find out all of those statistics as well, still up at the top of the website.
Oh, definitely.
Survey results. And then talking more about what we're doing with the community, I suppose it's not just online, and it's not just surveys and social media and podcasts, but also we get out and about to different things. So we mentioned that we go to some events, but I suppose our markets are one area that
I'm pretty sure a good few of the listeners met us at some point somewhere. Mm-hmm. I mean, the Merino market is something where we started. This was one of our first things we did, and we're still doing it, and we're enjoying it, being there. Normally once a month. Over the Christmas time, we've been there a few more times, and we also we try to be. When we are there, we try to do our community dog walks. You started this, right? You enjoyed this a lot.
Yeah, exactly. So I suppose we launched our company originally with a very digital focus, which we still are, obviously. But we also really, really enjoy doing the markets. And like you say, we've tried out various different markets at the beginning, and still love getting out there, meeting people. And one of the elements that we were thinking along the way was starting off our community dog walks. So we love getting groups of dogs together to go on a casual walk with no expectations, no major learning outcomes, just to have a casual walk with others, and then maybe hang around for a coffee afterwards.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's nice for some people who like always have to walk their dogs alone, and it's nice to just once a month meet people. You don't have to know them. I mean, everyone is welcome. Just walk the dogs. If your dog is not able for the whole walk, you can leave earlier, or
definitely. It's all just about being super casual and going with what your dog can do and what you're able for. It's a great way of meeting people and letting your dog kind of get out there. I think, one of the things as well that resonates with me is that a lot of our trainers and behaviorists say that, when you're talking about socialization, a lot of it, a lot of experiences out in public with dogs meeting other dogs can be very high energy and maybe not lead to the best socialization in its purest form. And going on these walks, once we start walking, all the dogs chill out because they realize there's loads of things to do. We're all just walking along, walking one direction. We're all going to go as one group or one pack. There's sniffs along the way, so you might stop and have a sniff at a tree, and
or treat.
Exactly. So it just takes away the whole focus and the pressure from now I have to meet someone. It's kind of like we're all walking in the same direction. I have plenty of opportunities to say hello to them, and I think it's great.
It's great. Yeah,
nice opportunity.
Yeah, and it's like for us, it's always nice to meet people and dogs, and this is why we do this, right?
Definitely. Definitely. And then we also did some really, really cool dog events during the year. So we mentioned Pet Expo was one of them. What other?
Yeah, this was the last one in the year now in October. Pet Expo, we already spoke about this great event in Dublin. Then we did Dogitude. This was our only real outdoor event this year. Also, where was it? Meath? West Meath?
Yeah.
Somewhere there.
Cozy Farm,
exactly. This was the name. Great event. Really, we really enjoyed it. We had a little bit of a rain on Sunday, but no one really took it badly. It was great.
I think if you're going to an outdoor event in Ireland any time of year, we don't need to tell you what the weather could be like. It could be, you could get any or all seasons. So it doesn't really matter what time of year that you're going, you could get anything. But brilliant opportunity to get out there and meet like-minded people and
try new things.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, of course, there was a dog show. In Ireland, we love our dog shows. But you could also try agility and many more things.
Duck diving was there.
Diving, and all these things with your dog. So it's these events are always great to try out and with your dog, do new things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Definitely. And similarly, lots of things going on at the Dog's Day out at Ballymaloe as well.
Yeah, which is the newest of all the dog events in Ireland, I would say. But great. Yeah, great. I mean, we all, I don't know if everyone knows Ballymaloe, but Ballymaloe is known for the craft fair and everything, and seeing this place so transformed into something for dogs is so nice. It's really nice.
Yeah,
I really enjoy it down there.
It's a very unique location as well for something like a dog event. We always enjoy going to the grain store, and like you mentioned, there's often concerts and retreats and all sorts of things going on.
Weddings, and then the next day there's a dog day, right?
Yeah, exactly.
This is so cool, and it's sheltered from the rain, so this is always a nice thing.
Yeah,
because it's in April.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So we always look forward to that one. So was there any other interesting things that you wanted to bring up, Chris?
The year, it was so long and so short at the same time. I mean, we had a good few new products this year, and I just looked it up beforehand because I couldn't even remember which products we brought out this year, and there were quite a few. I mean, and we always try to like listen to customers and what they need and what their recommendations are. For example, like our refill packs for the big tins, for example, like completely customer driven product. They
Yeah.
asked for it, so we did it.
Yeah, so we started off with smaller packs of treats, and we realized that some customers were coming and ordering really large amounts, or coming to events and picking up really large amounts of a single type of treat. And we started doing the larger tin size. And then this year we started doing refill packs as well for those tins, just to keep
because
everyone
people
happy.
people just said, look, I don't want to throw this tin away because it's nice, and then we just did this. But also, like, I mean, what we definitely this year was we really concentrated a little bit on the nutritional side of the whole thing. I think we started with with the eggshell. The eggshell powder was the first thing we did this year, nutritional wise.
Potentially, yeah.
Yeah. So this is the eggshell powder. If you don't know it, if you never saw it, it's a kind of a little bit of a niche product, I would say, because normally you wouldn't need it if you feed a kibble or something. But if you feed raw, or your dog needs more calcium, this is the way to go, and it's really great product.
It's a really interesting one for adding calcium to the diet. So you might see on if you're a social media user, or a heavy social media user around the dog world, you'll probably have seen raw feeders like crushing up eggshells or duck eggs or whatever, or feeding them whole. But this is a different type of product that makes that life a little bit easier to add in your calcium into the diet, because it's crushed up into a really fine powder. It's genuinely from eggshell, and it's nearly a dust.
It is really a dust. It's really fine.
And this is a product, I suppose, that's safe, because it's not sharp anymore. It's really a powder,
and very bioavailable there because it's so fine.
Exactly. So that one's an interesting one, and if I suppose it's important to get the calcium balance right. So if you're interested in that particular product, always just feel free to send us a message on Instagram.
Or also have a look on the product pages. We have a lot of information about our products, always on the product pages.
Yeah.
Then the green lip mussel, I think this was like a product we really wanted for us, even for Ruby.
Yeah. So I suppose green lip mussel, it's genuinely a mussel that grows natively in or on the coast of New Zealand.
Only there.
It only grows. It's exclusive to New Zealand, and it's there's been a lot of research done in the past on what the benefits could be, because not only does it have high levels of omega-3, it also contains chondroitin and glucosamine, which are the building blocks of cartilage.
Exactly.
So this is really important. Cartilage is, if you think about it, really, really important for the joints.
And all of them.
Exactly. So very, very interesting product for, I suppose, particularly for dogs with anything like arthritis or any joint issues, hip dysplasia.
Like I would say this is a no-brainer for everyone with a giant breed as a preventional thing, and you just need a little bit,
or even an aging dog.
Or an aging dog.
So I think with any nutritional supplement, personal opinion, little and often is the way to go. Like, you don't have to overdo it. You don't have to always feed these things to the maximum limits or anything. But I think if you're adding a little sprinkle here and there, it's already doing something for a lot of
I mean, there's no point in giving it 1 week and then leave it for 2 weeks and give it again.
Exactly. And then we also launched our newest nutritional product as well, gut balance.
This was an adventure, I think. We should say it like this. It was an adventure.
Yeah.
It took us a little bit of time to get this ready and right and good.
That's right. So I suppose we always try to minimize the amount of ingredients in any of our nutritional supplements. We do not believe in these these types of product that they have a treat and they've got huge ingredients lists with both active and inactive ingredients, which mean separated out usually at the best of times as well, so that you can't even tell how much of the active ingredients are really in the these little treats or little pills or whatever they are, and it becomes really difficult to understand and what's in it and to trust it from a nutritional perspective and from a herbal perspective even. So we try to minimize, and our gut balance product, we really wanted it to be a 50-50 split between spirulina and chicory root inulin, because these are really good.
Both good ingredients, and they do what they're supposed to do, and these are the best for doing this job.
We had planned it as a powder similar to our eggshell, our green lip mussel,
super greens
as well. They're all powders. Of course our omega oil is actually in an oil format, but the others are all powders, and this we thought would be a no-brainer as a pure and simple powder. Keeping it simple, why overcomplicate it? But unfortunately, the ingredients when
mixed, they tend to suck the humidity from the air and getting a little bit clumpy and sugary, I would say, the
same way that sugar draws, it can draw in. If you have a sugar bowl that's in the cupboard for a couple of years, it starts to clump and everything, and it just wasn't because it's so fine. Again, for bioavailability and the rest of it. It became difficult to work with. We just weren't happy with it in the tins, and we were trying it out with Ruby, but also testing the use case. So we do try to test everything that we're bringing out.
And it would perhaps it would have worked if you would have used the product constantly. It was a big dog, and then the tin is empty before this happens. But as I said, we always, or as you said, we always try to make everything the really right way.
Yeah, exactly. Try to keep our customers happy. If we can predict problems that might come down the line and issues that people will have, then we should try to avoid them if we can. So we put them into a little capsule format. And I think this can also have its advantages, because people, if your dog can't eat the capsule, I think, although spirulina can be quite messy and does turn things a bluey green, so it might be worth it if you can keep it in the capsule. But if you really have to, it would be no problem.
You can open it. You can open it, and it's always like it's the right dose then, and it's fine. It's just just press it out of the capsule and put it over the food. There's no problem.
Exactly. Or what I've done actually is mixed it with some natural unflavored yogurt as well, because then you get like the probiotics and the prebiotics together. And the dogs usually.
We just talked about how difficult it was for this product, but not what it's for.
Exactly, that's true. Actually, yeah. So we were really looking at the gut and immune balance in a body, and it's fascinating the research that's being done on guts, both in the human world and the animal world. And I think we're waking up to understand that our gut microbiome is hugely important, and it's really, really good as a both prebiotic and also for as a full cleanse, to cleanse out what your gut doesn't need, and even some heavy metals out of the body as well. Apparently it really, really works well for the spirulina part of it.
And everything starts with the gut. I mean, this would definitely be too much now for this episode, but I'm pretty sure we will come back to this in one of the future episodes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So while we gloss over that, we also might have a little bit of an insider on one of the products that I mentioned. Do you want to break the news?
It's like we just waiting for the labels to come. Everything is ready. We will get our I think it's the bestseller. It's the bestseller, and the omega oil. We will have this in bigger bottles now from next year on. I can't promise a date, but we will have it. Yeah. Or perhaps already have it if you listen to this episode later.
So yeah, you heard it here first. Our big insider, our new larger omega oil bottles will be coming as an option for you. They'll be double the size of our current best-selling omega oil that people are loving and buying 2 bottles and 3 bottles of. So this 4 bottles and 5.
Yeah, really.
So we're definitely looking forward to launching our new larger bottles along with the smaller ones. Of course.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, with the omegas, I mean, you have to say it. If they're open too long, then they're just gone. They're getting destroyed with oxygen. So if you have a small dog, I would recommend sticking with the smaller bottles. Or if you have a bigger dog or more than one dog, then go for the
it's omegas particularly denature with heat, with light, and with contact to oxygen.
Yeah.
So they tend to oxidize and turn rancid. And like you said, it's just really, really important to not leave bottles open for way too long. It's also why we have resisted the urge. I know that lots of customers really want a pump bottle, but there's some research out there saying that it turns the oil rancid very, very quickly. So we're trying to provide you with the best quality product, and that will come first.
Definitely.
We understand that a pump bottle, it can be super easy to use.
Sometimes usability is not everything. Sometimes it is about the quality of the product more than about usability.
And there's no point in feeding gone off fish oil that no longer has omega-3 in it, or has worse denatured versions of it. So that's it. And I suppose to finish things off as well, we have a bit of a teaser because we've been doing lots and lots of research this year, haven't we? And
research, training, studies.
Yeah. So we'll be coming out with some really, really exciting news to come out at the end of January as well. So as interesting as 2024 was, I think 2025 might be even more exciting.
Definitely.
In the Ruby Reese books. So
next year's episode at the end of the year will be definitely longer than this one.
Yeah, we might have to bring it out in 3 or 4 parts. We'll have to take over the month of December or January. So thank you so much once again for listening into our podcast.
Yeah, and following the podcast, listening to the podcast, and and be so loyal to us as customers, as listeners, as everything.
Absolutely.
Guests.
Please give us feedback. If you have favorite episodes or topics that you really would like to hear in the future, please let us know. If you would be an absolute star, it'd be great if you shared your favorite episode with a friend you think would like to hear it. And like Chris said, following this podcast on Spotify or Apple Music or YouTube or Amazon would be absolutely hugely appreciated. If you can't do any of that, then you can always support us by hopping on over to our online shop at ruby-reese.com. Thank you so much for listening in. Thank you for being with us and following along for 2024. We're super happy for 2025.
Definitely. Looking forward to this.
Thank you, over and out. And until next year or on Tuesday.